What's an unhealthy obsession people have? Story 1. Doom scrolling and slowly losing our attention spans because of it. We ingest so much short-form content, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, that it starts to become hard to watch a full 15-plus minute video or read an article from start to finish. Not to mention, it fucks with our dopamine, and as someone with ADHD, I've heard it has even more adverse effects. I have slight dyslexia, so I can't remember which to use here. For us, pretty worrisome and pretty common. Story 2. People are obsessed with youth, and some people will do anything to maintain its appearance. I live in LA. I work somewhat connected to the entertainment industry. More times than I can enumerate, stunning women, and a number of great-looking men, have slowly distorted their faces and figures into oblivion. In the span of 18 months, many are entirely unrecognizable. Literally. I've gone to events, bumped into people, and I didn't know who they were until I heard their voice. They start looking like this homogeneous mass of the altered. Story 3. Truly hating celebrities who have zero impact on your life. For instance, Meghan Markle cannot pass legislation. She cannot fire you from your job. She has literally no effect on your life whatsoever, and yet there are entire subreddits dedicating to hating her. I can't help but think that's kinda unhealthy. I can see being negatively obsessed with someone like a politician. A politician actually has some sort of effect on your life. That's why I totally get people who are obsessed with hating Biden or Trump or the CEOs of major corporations or even someone like Elon Musk. These are people whose decisions actually impact your life, whereas Alec Baldwin's wife or Meghan Markle are just celebrities whose decisions impact no one else but the immediate circle of people around them. I mean, feel free to hate whoever you want, but it just seems weird to me to be that obsessed with some celebrity. So obsessed that you spend your days talking about how much you hate them. Wouldn't it be wiser to direct all that hatred and negative energy towards someone who is actually, doing something bad? Story 4. Obsession with their social media image. Social media image is pretty much the modern reputation. I know too many people that practically set up a fantasy on their social media showing how amazing their life is. But if you run into them IRL, they are incredibly miserable. They refuse to change anything or get rid of toxic people behaviors because it would damage their image online. A friend of mine's mother almost spends every waking hour on FB and Instagram. She is constantly updating the world on her life. My friend has had to stop sending her pics of his children because they would immediately end up on her FB. She has fallen for a number of scams. Thankfully, stopped by friend before she lost money. It seems the only source of validation in her life are the upvotes and likes of friends, relatives, and strangers. Story 5. An obsession with everything celebrities are doing, inclusive of influencers, streamers, and any other random person with a webcam. We get mad at narcissism, but go out of our way to throw money at these folks. Not everybody needs to be a brand. The overwhelming majority of us are just plain, ordinary humans, and that's okay. From what I've seen of influencers/streamers, mostly Keemon Let's Players, they seems to fill a role of friendship to a lot of people who don't actually have any friends in their normal life. These guys fill in that gap and let you feel like you know them as a people since they're always posting their life online. Just seems like a new way to have interpersonal social relationships. Granted, I never watch mainstream streamers or use Instagram, TikTok, so probably a bit different from those type of followers. Story 6. Pointless relationships. Settling for less just because you think you can't be alone is not healthy. I think it's even more nuanced than that in the sense that people don't know what to truly prioritize as important for a successful relationship. In my 20s, I'd think of it as the biggest red flag in terms of compatibility if the person I was dating didn't share my taste in music, books, movies, etc. I went through a ton of relationships that seemingly started out great, only to fizzle or blow up, because I wasn't focusing on what makes two people actually compatible, like the ability to apologize when you're wrong, the desire to learn more about your SO's interests, and a mutual understanding of what you both consider important versus stuff that really doesn't matter. My wife and I have completely different hobbies and tastes, and it's hands down the best and easiest relationship I've ever been in. I go to all of her games, she comes to shows with me, and through that mutual interest of getting to know each other more, we've grown more interested in each other's respective hobbies. Story 7. Work productivity. Everybody needs a break, not just every once in a while, but often. Almost everyone in my office grabs their lunch and eats at their desk while working. Like, you literally get hour-and-a-half breaks if you want. What are you doing, LOL? I always get on my phone and watch a show or YouTube while eating my lunch for the full time. Edit. And no one here does it to leave an hour earlier. Story 8. Their phones. It's one thing to keep yourself busy. It's another to never let yourself be bored. Being bored is important sometimes. It makes you think, helps clear your head. Phones make it ridiculously easy to never let yourself get bored, to the point where it ain't healthy. Same here. I go to work, look at a screen, come home, TV with dinner, then computer gaming, then workout, then TV, go to the bathroom, wait for the shower water to heat up, not sure what else to do in that moment, phone. I don't look at a screen when I'm driving, exercising, or trying to sleep. It's made me very explicitly give up on anything in life because I'm so sick of feeling stressed and anxious that I'll accept never doing anything different because I feel it doesn't change anything for the better and only adds stress. I'm not sure how to change this. Story 9. Arguing with strangers on social media. Know your limit. There's a subreddit with something about arguing on the internet is like wrestling a brick wall. You're not going to get anywhere. People are set in their ways. They aren't open to good discussion and taking points away. They're right. You're wrong. I love a good discussion where you go back and forth and acknowledge and appreciate the other person and their good intended arguments. We're not arguing at that point. We're having a good discussion with opposite viewpoints and providing evidence to support our viewpoints. Story 10. I had never been into true crime beyond old Unsolved Mysteries episodes, but then I got hooked on the Idaho student murders case. I even joined all the subreddits and checked them daily, hourly if I'm being honest. I cannot believe how some people act in those subs. People post weird tributes like they knew the victims. People get insanely defensive of their theories of the crime. There were people posting Zillow photos of the inside of the murder house, with labels showing where all the roommates lived. The worst was when people jumped all over some poor dude in a hoodie who just happened to be shown on a public street camera while two of the victims got food the night of the murders. Now apparently, there are subs dedicated to the suspect, who some people think is cute. True crime is morbidly fascinating. But some people take it way too far. Story 11. People obsess over virtual numbers like Snapchat streak or likes on Instagram photos. I'm older, so in my 20s I was on a message board, got pretty into it, and on a trip overseas, met a bunch of people from that message board. That aspect was great. But it got to a point where you could upvote comments and see what other members upvoted or downvoted you, and sometimes they would leave you messages. I guess like Reddit, but you were more familiar with specific people. I realized I was often thinking about the updates, worrying about the downvotes, and thinking about comments and posts these relative strangers made. It was taking up a lot of brain space, and I was allowing myself to get sucked in. So I left. This was the early 2000s and just before social media took off. I can't deal with social media such as FBOW, Instagram, etc. because of those early experiences with those message boards. Reddit is big enough to not be as personal for me. Story 12. Unpopular opinion, but positivity. I'm talking about toxic positivity that those self-help gurus make millions on roping desperate and vulnerable people into their cult-like seminars. Have a problem in your life? Buy my book, Be a Better You. It's not the world that's the problem, it's your mindset. To be clear, there are so many great self-help books out there, but most are total crap and cash grabs promoting more products. Story 13. Being a victim. Seriously, some people's entire identity entails being persecuted for being some identity that they cling to with all their might. And it's especially prevalent with people whose hands are caught in the proverbial cookie jar or doing things that are genuinely harmful for the community in general. The number of people I've dealt with who complain how their real friends let them do whatever they want or they should get away with it because everyone else is doing it or they have always been pushed around and bullied so they should get away with whatever disproportionately bad or retributive action they took is entirely too high. Story 14. I'd say the culture of making every holiday or special occasion about overeating, overdrinking, and eating ultra-processed foods is a much bigger issue. Portion sizes are huge and more calories